This is your homework for day 2 of 20 days to STAAR. Question number 1 was,
Miss H has four frisbees. Each has a diameter of 6 inches. Miss Stoker has 2 more frisbees than Miss H has, and with the same diameter. What is the combined circumference of Miss Stoker's frisbees?
so the first thing that you have to do on this question is you have to figure out that Miss Holmes has 4 and then Miss Stoker has 2 more, so you have to say that there's 6 frisbees altogether. And then you're going to have to figure out the circumference of one of those frisbees, and the circumference of all of them together is going to be the circumference of one of them times 6. So if I multiply this out, pi 3.14 times the diameter of the circle, which is 6. You come out here to the side and multiply that. You get 18.84 for the circumference of one of those frisbees. And then to figure out the circumference of all of them, you're going to multiply that times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 48 plus 2 is 50 plus you. 6 times 8 is 48 plus 5 is 53. Carry the 5. And then 11. Your decimal is going to be moved over 2 places, so 1, 2. So my answer for the circumference of all of these combined is 113.04.
Stop this page.
Yes, page.
Find the total surface area of the net.
Okay. On this one, the numbers that it gives you are 6 on this side, 3 down here, 3 down here, and 2 and 2 over here. So you have to know how to take those numbers and put them around the net so that you can figure out the area of each one of the rectangles that make up the 6 rectangles of that net, and then you're going to figure out the areas, and then you're going to add them all up. So if we have a 6 here, that 6 can be transferred all the way across. This 3, we know all of these would be 3. And the 2 here means that this would be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Okay? So if we figure out the area of each one of those rectangles, we can label this one 12 from 6 times 2. This one, 6 times 3 is 18. That's another 12 and another 18. And then the top and the bottom of it would be 6 and 6. So to figure out the total surface area of the net, I would take all of those numbers and add them all up. So I've got 18, 18, 12, 12, 6, 6. If I add those up, I get 72. So the surface area of this is 72 square centimeters. Okay, question number 3.
A bag has index cards with the following numbers on them: -4, 11, 13, -25, -12, and -18. If an index card is drawn randomly, what is the possibility that the whole number will not be drawn? Finish the following expression which describes this: -1.
Okay. So, the probability that a whole number will not be drawn comes from figuring out the ones that are not whole numbers over the total possible cards that we can draw out of there. Okay? So the number that are not whole numbers would be this one, the -4, because it's negative, it's an integer, it's not a whole number. This one, and this one. Okay? So there are 4 that are not whole numbers, and the total possible is 6, the 6 index cards. Okay? So on the paper it says, finish the following expression which describes this, 1 minus something. So if we subtract 2 6 the two that were whole numbers from one whole, we get 4/6, the number that were not whole numbers. Okay. Question number 4, will you read that for me, Amy?
A rectangle with
Dimensions.
dimensions of 3 by 5 units is enlarged by a scale factor of 1.4. By what percent does its area increase?
Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is figure out the area of the new rectangle. If its dimensions are increased by 1.4 scale factor, then we have to multiply both 3 and 5 by 1.4. And then we're going to have to multiply those, and that'll give you the area of a new rectangle that is 1.4 times bigger than the original rectangle. So 1.4 times 3 gives me 4.2, and this one, 1.4 times 5, gives me 7. So my new rectangle that's 1.4 times bigger than my old rectangle is a 4.2 by 7 rectangle. So if I label the dimensions of this one, and our question was, by what percent does its area increase? Okay, so the area of the original one was 15, and the area of this one, if I multiply 4.2 times 7, you get 14, 29, move that over, just 29.4. The question though is by what percent does it increase? So we're going to have to treat this like a percent increase problem. And remember the formula for a percent increase, which is the difference divided by the original amount. And if we divide the difference, which is 29.4 minus 15, divided by the original amount, it was originally a rectangle with an area of 15. We get, this subtraction gives you 14.4 over 15. 14.4 divided by 15 is how we're going to work this. Running out of board space. So 14.4 divided by 15. 15 is going to go into 14 0 times. I got to go over one more. So 9. 9 times 5 is 35. 125. And borrow 1, that becomes 3. So 14 minus 5 is 9, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So I've got 19. Did I mess that up? Times 5 is 45, and that gives me 13 right there. So whenever I subtract this, there's 0. So there's 9 here, and I put another 0 and bring it down. 15 goes into 90 exactly 6 times. 6 times 15 is 90 with a 0 remainder. So the percent of change on that, we look at this, this is 0.96, and that would be a 96% increase. Since we're going from 15 to 29.4, it's getting larger, and that would be an increase. So 96% increase. So,
Okay, can I have a question?
Huh?
Can I have a question?
Yeah, you like this?
So,
No, we're not ready at all.
number 5. Humphrey's grandfather gave him 15 toy soldiers. Each month he buys 25 more. He has how many months will it take him to collect the total of 340 soldiers? Write the equation to the expression of this scenario.
Put it down and go.
I'm leaving.
What is the rate of change? How much is it changing each month? How many more soldiers is he buying each month? So he's buying 25 each month. So that's going to be your rate of change.
Rate of change? I'm confused.
So write that right there. That's where M is.
So, 25?
And we're trying to figure out what X is, the number of toy soldiers that he wants to buy. And then the starting amount is the number of soldiers that he starts out with, which was what? 15. So, here. So he starts out with 15 soldiers, and B in Y equals MX plus B is the starting amount. So if he's going to get 340 total soldiers, where would you put 340? Yes, that's the total amount that he gets. Okay. Good. And how would you go about solving for X? Because it wants us to write the equation, and you've done that. 340 equals 25 times X plus 15. No,
Yeah.
that's a common error, but no, we want to get rid of the plus 15 first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we want to subtract 15. So if you write it on that side, write it on the other side. And write it under the plus 15. There you go. That gives us 0.
That is 25?
325. Yep.
39?
325.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so we're dividing both sides by 25, and the value of X is going to be the number of months it will take, what's his name? Ryan, no, not Ryan, Humphrey, to get 340 soldiers. 13? That's right. If you divide 25 into 325, you get 13. So it's going to take him 1 year and 1 month to go from where he started, 15 toy soldiers, to where he wants to be, which is why 340 soldiers.
Why
So-
is that?
Mhm. Why is why?
Mm-hmm.
Because y is always the dependent variable. It's what,
So and your X is independent?
mhm.
That's it. Not even.
So you could put any amount of months in there and figure out the number of toy soldiers he would get.
So
13
your X
equals
is
X.
Okay, let's move on to number 6.
Is it 13 equals X?
Okay, E sometimes.
Okay, I need my paper. You have my paper. It's right there on the ground.
Oh, sorry.
I got the whole part of you asking question and the Y is Y and is the X independent and thought.
You thought?
He has a lot of X's, so do I. But I'm not mean to them.
You're not helping me here.
See, I'm not mean.
Okay, it's number 6.
Okay.
Órale, move, Horacio, move.
Solve the equation and then graph the solution. Negative 4x minus 7 is greater than 5.
Okay, so again, we want to get a variable by itself. So what is the first thing that we're going to do, Horatio?
Gonna add 5 to both sides. No, add 7, my bad.
Yeah.
That'd be 12.
Mhm.
That'd be 0.
Mhm.
So we have 12 negative 4x
Mhm.
and divide negative 4.
Good.
And that'd be negative 3. Yeah. Bam.
So it's never 0 x's, it's always 1 x, or there would be no x there.
I saw this.
Anything divided by itself is
Okay,
1.
and then we're gonna do that, and it's
And
gonna
then,
be.
hold on a second. I got a question. What was the special case that we learned whenever you divide by a negative? What happens?
It's always negative.
No. Do you remember, Trace?
If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the symbol.
Beauty. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have
I'm
to
so stupid.
flip-flop the symbol. You're not stupid. That's not nice. Be sweet to positive ratio. Okay, so the ratio, if it is x now is less than -3, are we going to have a open circle or a closed circle?
Open
Open circle,
in that way.
and it's to the left. Good.
Yay.
Okay, so on your number line, you're gonna have an open circle at -3, and your arrow is going to go to the left. Muy bien. All right.
Gracias.
Ryan,
So keep on going. Okay.
Ryan orders decals for his skateboard from an online store, which charges $5 per decal. When he checks out, his choices. He chooses
Expedited.
shipping, which adds another $10 to his total. Create a table which shows how much Ryan would pay for the first 3 decals.
Okay. Before we do the table, let's figure out what the equation would be in y equals mx plus b. So what is the rate of change? How much does it go up for each decal? $10? Does it go up $10 for each one?
It's 5.
Yeah, 5. Okay, and then the starting amount, how much did you have to pay for shipping?
$10.
$10. Okay, so it doesn't really matter how many you order, you're gonna have to pay that $10 to start off with. So, using that, we can figure out the total cost for these, okay? You don't think to ask you to explain why you're doing that, how you're doing that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
10 plus 10. Yeah, right.
Yep, perfect. Okay, now explain why.
Okay. Simple. This is y. This is x. Not bad. This is x. This is y.
Right.
Alright. So, pretty much common sense.
Okay, so you took the 1 and you put it where?
Where the x goes.
Where the
That's
x
what's
goes?
missing.
Okay, and so then you would have 5 times 1 plus 10 gives you 15, y.
What
Okay.
is y? Why is
5 times 2 is 10, 10 is 20, and so forth. Okay.
so far in order?
Yes. So the question is asking you to fill in the table. So those 3 numbers are what would go into the table, 5, 20, and 25. Okay?
So 0 would be 10. Let me see a light.
Information from the above problem. Write the linear relationship as an equation.
Have we already done that?
Mm-hmm. What's up, Hammy G's?
We sure did. So,
Y equals 5x plus 10.
y equals 5x plus 10.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So if we started off with this, could we have written that if we hadn't had a word problem at all?
No.
No?
Wait, yes.
Okay. Could you have backed up to 0?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, because you
Right.
just subtract 1 each time. And what's the pattern here? 25, 20, 15. What's happening
10.
each time?
And
We're subtracting 5 each time, right? If you go through that pattern. So you have an ordered pair 0, 10. And what part of y equals mx plus b does that tell you? Help them out, Tracy.
you lost me at 0.
So y equals mx plus b. I always tell you, you gotta figure out the m and the b in order to figure out.
Y-intercept.
Right. So this is the y-intercept, right? So the value of x when y is 0. I said it backwards. The value
Yeah, you
of
said
y
that
when
first
x
time.
is 0 is what?
5.
No. So y equals mx plus b. Where is that in the equation?
I truly don't know what you're talking about.
That's good, because if you don't know, then there's lots of people that are confused.
Like
M
Cody.
is your rate of change, B is your starting amount, okay? That's your y-intercept. So that means that this 10 is B. It's the value of y when x is 0, okay? So I'll put my 10 down here, and then how do we figure out what M is from a table like this? What divided by what?
Change in y divided by the change in x.
Change in y divided by the change in x. What's the change in y from 15 to 20?
5.
5. And then what's the change in x from 1 to 2?
1.
1. So our rate of change is 5. So y equals 5 times x plus 10. Okay? So you got to be able to go from a word problem to a table to a graph. All of these things you got to be able to go back and forth from. All right. Ready for number 8? No, that was number 8. Number 9.
Miss A and two friends agreed to split the cost of going to a movie. They spent a total of $26.25. For the ticket, $75.75 for snacks and 8% sales tax. How much did each person pay?
Okay. First thing you gotta do is add 2 of these mugs right there. The mug right there, the mug right there. Alright? Let's do it.
Right.
Them mug don't write. At least that. You filming? Alright. First thing I do is add these 2 mugs. 26.25. Add 36.75. Add in 2 mugs, and then you got, alright, that's 10, 12, 13, 5, 6. That's right there, 63. Alright, and then you gotta multiply by that. Show me?
How come you have to multiply by that?
Because that's the tax rate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So 63 times 0.08 gives you what?
Yeah, and then you got, because you got to convert it too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did it.
Okay.
0.08. 24, 48 plus 2. That's 50. Alright, like that. That's your answer.
Okay, where's the decimal go?
Right there.
Right there, between the 5 and the 0. Okay. So that dollar amount is how much?
It's $5.04.
Okay. So if that's the taxes, what are you going to do with the
You gotta
taxes?
add that to that, and that's gonna be 68.4.
Okay. Will you show it to us, please?
Yes, I will.
Nora, be quiet, please.
Go.
And there we go. Okay, so $68.04 is the answer to number 1. Read the question.
Looking at the graph, what is the constant of proportionality?
Okay.
Proportionality.
Yeah.
I'm not that good. I'm not that good at these, but you know, give my best.
This page go with the problem.
Okay. Gotta do is put 1 right here because that's y. Make equivalent 2, and then that's it. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so show me on the graph where y comes from.
Y comes from this line.
Okay,
I'm hoping, right?
okay. But where'd you get the number 1 from?
The 1, that's 1. That's 2. So
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So on the paper
Mhm.
that y'all got for your assignment, did it have those points labeled?
Yes, ma'am. It did.
It did?
Yes, ma'am.
It did not.
It did.
I thought I put those on there.
Look, the mug. Right there.
But the points weren't labeled. You
Yeah.
have to put the label on them.
But you have to find them out, so, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so you just have to label the 1.00 and the other one 2.1, and then you know what x and y are, and then you can divide y by x, and you get your constant.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Now, if y'all had to do that's a referral, so I'll see y'all tomorrow.